Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Vardant here from Kotobukiya. This is a model kit that I've been looking forward to building for a long time. This is a model kit from the Linebarrels of Iron series, a series that I'm not really at all familiar with. I've never seen it or read manga or anything. If there is a manga, actually, I don't really even know, but it's a cool mecha design. And this kit came out quite a while ago, but in 2008, actually, and it was fairly recently reprinted. So I took the opportunity to pick one up, and I'm looking forward to getting this built up. It's a super cool design. Let's go ahead and get into it, starting off by taking a look at the box, and then we'll check out the kit. This is the box art here on the front. Looks really cool. There you can see all the swords there mounted up on that equipment that's got there on the back, but really cool design. Like I said, I love that blue color too. Looks really nice. I think this is actually number 3 in the line. There's a few different model kits that Kotobukiya makes from Linebarrels of Iron. I think that they were all reprinted if I remember correctly. I'd recommend you guys to check them out. Here on the ends of the box, just going to look like this. And then on the side of the box, going to show the built and painted model kit there, front and back, with like those backpack parts all closed up. And then of course you can have them opened up as well. So that's going to be one of like the main options that you have. Now, because this is an older kit, I'm not expecting the articulation to be fantastic with this. I'm expecting you to be able to do maybe these couple of poses and maybe a couple of other different like sort of action poses, something like that, but not necessarily a whole lot. And honestly, I'm okay with that just because I just like the look of this model kit. But here's a sample photo of the unpainted kit right there. And then on the other side, not really much here, except you can see the MSRP for this coming in at 5,500 yen. So yeah, this is one of those kits where I'm not going to be too upset if it can't necessarily do a whole lot, because I think it's just going to look really cool. So we'll check out the runners in just a second, but taking a look at the manual here first, they have this really cool photo there on the front. On the back side, this is going to be our color guide for the kit there. You can see all the colors laid out for you, mostly just like blue and then different shades of gray and kind of off-white. On the inside here, some artwork of the Machina, and then a factor down here at the bottom, character artwork for Reiji. So you can see some more images of the built and painted kit over here. It looks like it's painted with a nice kind of pre-shade on there, which is pretty cool. On the inside here, we've got our parts list, and then all the constructions just going to be here in black and white. And it looks like it's going to be fairly simple in terms of the construction. It's not going to be anything like as lengthy as like a master grade, although I'm expecting it to be about the size of a master grade, but definitely not as complex. Something more of the complexity of something like a Moderoid kit, if you guys have ever built any Moderoid kits. So as for the runners, then first off, we do have some polycaps, 2 polycap runners here in the slightly like kind of bluish gray color there. And the A runner, nice big full runner here of a bunch of our blue parts. We do have more, but here's a lot of the blue armor parts, which is going to be like the main color for the body, of course. Runner B, we have 2 of for the rest of our blue parts for the body. And here you can see, looks like all those sword parts that are going to be stored up in the backpack for when you have like the backpack parts opened up, is just going to be kind of swords that are going to be molded into those parts, unfortunately. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of masking involved if you're planning on painting this kit. Runners C and D are going to be all of our kind of like joint and hand and mechanical type parts here in a kind of bluish gray color. We have 1 of runner C, 2 of runner D here. So nice colors though, I like it. Runners E and F are in a slightly bluish kind of off-white kind of color. Sort of reminds me of like the gym in Gundam, how it's always kind of has like, well, sometimes has that kind of like tinted green sort of tone to the white. Similar kind of thing here with this. And there you can see there's our sword parts here on runner F. Those are just going to be all white. Runner G, then we also have 2 of in this darker, still like slightly bluish gray kind of color here. Obviously the parts for the backpack. Runner H is this one little teeny part here in like a tannish yellow kind of color. You're going to really want to be careful with that, it looks like. And actually skipping to runner T here in black is our stand base, and ABS just going to be a black simple base, but nice to have that included for sure. So that's it for the runners. Let's go ahead and check it out. Well, guys, all right, here it is all put together, and I was very surprised at just how small this kit is. It's much smaller than I was expecting. It's like sort of like high grade size, and that is pretty small, especially for like a Kotobukiya mecha kit like this. There's not many that I've built from Kotobukiya like this that are quite this small, so I was a little bit surprised. Also, you can definitely tell the age of this kit. I mean, as I think I said in the unboxing, this is a reprint of this kit that originally came out quite a while ago, and it's pretty obvious. It's not really the best kit, just in terms of the overall sturdiness of the kit. You're definitely going to want to glue some parts. There's a lot of seam lines basically everywhere all over the kit. So it's going to take a little bit of work, but I think it is still a really cool design, and there's some cool stuff that you can do with this, but it's not necessarily going to be the best kit, I'll admit. And so real quick on the size here, not including the base, but just the height of the kit itself. I mean, up to the top there, it looks like it's coming out to about 16 centimeters. I mean, but for the head height, about 12 centimeters, something like that, 13 centimeters. So yeah, it's a small kit, like the size of a high grade sort of. But we do have this simple black base, which is actually going to attach up into like this kind of back skirt section here, this big section there at the back. If you look up inside there, you can kind of see where the base is attached. So anyway, it's kind of interesting and a little bit unique there. And then for our hand options, we have these just open resting hands like this. We've got this set of sword holding hands here with like the thumbs outstretched. And just to show you for an example, here's one of the swords going to fit into the hand like that. And I will say a couple things. Number one, we have 4 of these swords. I'll come back to that in just a second, but it's pretty loose fitting there in the hand. Then we've also got 2 of these hands here, which are meant to hold multiple swords there kind of between the fingers. So it's going to be like one goes there, another one goes here for it to basically hold like 2 swords between the fingers there at the same time, and you have these hands for the left and the right side as well. So that's kind of cool. Certainly very interesting, and it actually holds the swords better in this hand, which is not what I was expecting. Better than the other hand, it seems like. But yeah, we've got 4 of those swords here that are all molded in white, so definitely going to require some painting, and that's just going to be kind of the case for the kit in its entirety here. Other main accessories just basically going to be these kind of shield binder things here on the back side. Now to have those opened up, we have like different parts you're going to have to swap here for like the connection at the back. So this connection piece that's holding them now is just basically like kind of has like these 2 straight rods that stick out on the side, and then you're basically just meant to stack those up on there. And the problem is, as you can see up here at the top, the first 2 kind of go like face to face, and so it seems like those should be like more closed up. You can see they're kind of like bowing out there and not like perfectly aligned straight. And then the next 4, I think it is, right? 1, 2, and the next 3, other than just those 2 that you have face to face, are there just kind of stacked onto the side. But anyway, to have them like fanned out, you have this different connection piece and then these other connection pieces that you'll use to basically attach those together to have them opened up. And then on the inside, you'll put all these parts. So these aren't already in there now. These are just meant to go in once you have, if you're having this displayed with like that all opened up. So this is basically showing the swords stored on the inside of those there, but obviously these are also going to need some painting as well, because it's just these solid pieces here with like the sword handle, and then the blades are inside these bits that are inside those kind of shield binder bits. So that's pretty much it. Where the base is connected up into this kind of back skirt piece, there is a little cap for that part if you, for whatever reason, didn't have this on the base. Now, while you don't technically need the base, and this can, in theory, stand on its own, I just don't really think that that's really feasible. But there is a gimmick here in the feet, in the leg. I'm just gonna pop off the leg here just because I can see it's about to pop off anyway. So normally just the feet would not be able to stand up like this, but this part here actually at the back, this part you can take off from the back there and just reposition this in a different angle, and then in theory, then it can just basically kind of stand on these high heels like that. So again, I really don't think that that's going to happen, especially with how heavy the backpack is and just kind of how finicky these parts in the lower leg are, but just letting you guys know that that is an option. But taking a closer look here at the kit, you'll see that the part for the eyes was actually pre-painted. I didn't clock that on the runner. You can see there was like a black there and a little bit of white for the eye, but interestingly, it was only for the one side. I think it's supposed to be on both sides, isn't it? I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe it only has like the one eye there on that one side, but as you can see, looking around here on the kit, there's some nice surface detail around here and there. You have some little pentaline and details, and especially some pretty nice color separation here at the head with those white and blue parts mixed, and you have those little like cord parts going from the head down into the chest. But on the other hand, there is a lot of seam lines on everything here on the shoulder, here on the forearm, the upper arm, and the forearm. This part here at the back of the arm is a single piece, a single white piece there with that blue piece on top. But then down here in the legs as well, seam line there on the thigh, seam line on the lower leg. But then down here as well, seam line here on the thigh, not on this part here on the lower leg. The way that the parts stack together to make a kind of the lower portion of the leg is actually pretty nice. There's no seam lines there. But one thing that I will say is that you'll definitely want to glue some parts. Everything's snap fit. I mean, as you can see, it's holding together like well enough, but it is pretty fragile. I'm like, just parts are popping off pretty easily with this, which, as I said before, just is pretty indicative of like kind of older Kotobukiya mecha kits. You have some really cool designs like this, but they're pretty seam heavy, and they also just parts tend to want to pop off here and there. There's also a seam line, of course, down the middle of this part here at the back as well. So we'll wrap up the review here basically by taking a look at a few different poses with this without going through the articulation of this like point by point, just because it is kind of very fragile in hand and difficult to move stuff around without parts popping off. It's not really easy to show you guys, but I can show you a few different poses just to kind of show you an example of like the range of articulation that you're going to have with this. And as you can see, I mean, it is going to be pretty limited. The hips are just like a ball and socket joint on the polycap too, which is kind of very not ideal, but you do have pretty nice joints there at the elbows and the knees. You are going to be pretty limited basically in like the torso and the head articulation, but you've got enough range of articulation in there to be able to do some cool poses with this. And of course, like the weapons and just the overall design, I think is really cool, very unique, which is what drew me to this in the first place. I've not ever seen the anime or really know anything about it, but I always just thought this was a really cool mecha design, and so I think it does look good here as a kit. It's definitely going to take some work to bring out the best in this kit. It's just going to take a lot of glue, really is kind of the main thing. Glue and masking, you know, gluing the seams, gluing any parts that are finicky and prone to popping off, you know, after you paint them, and then also just a lot of masking for some of the details that are just missing from the kit as it's molded anyway. So overall, I would say it's a cool little kit, especially if you're a fan of the series, if you're a big fan of this mecha design. That said, not really one that I would necessarily recommend for everyone. I think if you wanted something that you can just snap together and be able to pose and play with easily without having parts popping off and having trouble holding the weapons and things like that, then it's probably one that you're going to find a little bit frustrating. But if you're willing to put in the work, it's definitely got a lot of potential there to be like a really nice finished piece when it's all done. The only thing I would say is that I wish that it was a little bit larger. I was a little bit disappointed that at just how small it was. I wish that this was closer in size to like a 1/100 scale Gunpla kit. I think that would have been really nice. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about this? It's an older kit, but it did just recently get reprinted. So if you are trying to get your hands on it, you should be able to find it pretty easily these days. But if you're looking for more Kotobukiya kits, mecha or mecha musume or anything else from Kotobukiya, of course you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. Got lots of great stuff there on the website. And as always, thank you guys so much for all of your support, leaving a like, making sure you're subscribed, and just checking out the video here today. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.